everybody. Good morning. Coach, just opening thoughts on Buffalo week.
Excited to get a chance to play a really good Buffalo team. They're 3-1. They just beat 23rd ranked NIU, who beat Notre Dame. When you watch them play on film, they're physical, they're tough, they're gritty, they're disciplined. They play really hard on both sides of the ball and in special teams. So it'll be a really good challenge for us to go against an established team. And we're excited for the challenge, excited to have another chance to play at home in front of our fans. And hopefully build on some of the success that we've been having and improve on things that we need to improve on.
You went back and watched the film from last week. I guess what stood out to you positively,
Positively is we played with good intensity the entire game. We didn't have any letdowns, save that long run at the end where I didn't think we played that very well. I guess you could call it, something that not necessarily a positive, but can turn into a positive, is we left a lot out there. We had some things even in the run game where we had a lot of success that just weren't clean. And if we can clean that stuff up, which we have to, because we're playing a really good defense this week, really good defense. But if we can clean some of that stuff up, then we've got a chance to improve, So we're working hard on that. We had a good practice this morning. Guys are locked in and focused, and they understand, what we need to do to get better, and that's always a positive. Continue to work on our passing game. Certainly, we didn't have to throw it much last week. When we did, we were pretty effective, but, we just want to continue to grow every week, and you take the mistakes you made in a game, and you fix them, and you apply them going forward, and you hope you learn and get better.
What made the offensive line?
What? Go ahead.
The offensive line so good last week, and with that impressive running performance, you're missing a starter on the offensive line. And by the way, what's his status for this game?
Well, the offensive line was okay. They weren't great. When I talk about some of the things that need to be better, I was talking about the offensive line. Running the ball is not, in our system, it's not just the offensive line. It's the tight ends, it's the receivers blocking downfield, it's the backs obviously knowing when to make their cut, and it's certainly the quarterback, making great decisions in the run game. So I think when we just take it down to those 5 offensive linemen that we're not accurate. So we all need to play better. But the offensive line in general has played well, especially given that there's 3 new starters on the inside. And then last week, and having not having Ben, and having Kyle and those guys, rotate inside. But there's a continuity there. They care. They're smart. They're very well coached. They take to coaching. So it's just as a whole, it's a really good group. When a guy like Brady Wayburn, who's been here for a while, and he's had some injury problems and stuff, but he can just hang in there and keep growing and step in for his first start and play the way he did. It says a lot about what you're trying to grow here.
How much of an advantage is to have three guys who rush over 100 yards in a game? To have 3 guys who can go to, how much of an advantage is that?
It's big, yeah, and I feel like we have 5 because I think we have, once Victor comes back, we got Victor, and we've got a quarterback who can run the ball. So weapons, right? We got to have weapons, and that room's full of guys that can, they're all a little bit different too, right? They all have a little bit different style, which I think is good. We saw last week that just a kind of a vast difference between Mel and Darrell and what they can do, and they're both very effective doing it. We know that, we've seen what Cam can do. Cam's a hammer. People don't want to tackle Cam, and then Victor is, to me, just he is. He's just got tremendous versatility. So it's a good room. And then, in this day and age in college football, having a quarterback that can do things with his legs in the run game is a great advantage to you, because it forces a defense to, maybe play some different coverages or be a little bit slow on the backside, which helps your run game on the front side. I think anytime you have 2 athletes going opposite ways and the defense has to figure out where the ball is, that's a good thing.
What's Cam's status? And if you have 3 or 4 healthy backs, then how do you decide who's going to get the ball? Are you trying to get one guy in rhythm? Are you looking to see what happens early in the game? Is it a matchup thing?
It's all those things. There's particular plays you want particular players to run. Who's hot? You don't necessarily want to take a guy who's hot out of the game. spreading carries around, you know, making sure that you're doing the best you can to keep guys fresh and healthy as the game goes on. Cam's fine. I mean, he's fine. So, you know, my concern is getting Victor back. Hopefully we'll get him back. I think we'll know tomorrow if he's going to be able to play this week. He's out there working hard, and we just have to make sure that we're smart. You know, he's got long-term health that we've got to be concerned with. But if we can get Victor back, that'd be a good thing for us.
Does it affect your game plan at all when you play against the nation's leading tackler or someone who has that sort of reputation?
You have to be aware of where he is. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he's really fun to watch. I mean, he plays with tremendous motor. I mean, he runs and goes, and he's smart, and he anticipates well. But that's how they play on defense. I mean, their whole defense plays like that, but that young man really stands out to you. But you have to be aware of him, but you don't change anything. You know, you just have to do what you do. You have to anticipate that he may react faster than guys that you're seeing in practice or you've seen weeks before. And you've just got to make sure that you're technically sound and fundamentally sound and assignment perfect.
Jim,
Yes, sir.
do you think the use of the portal is making you get better faster than maybe you always would have developed?
Yeah, certainly. And I think it's that way for everybody. But it, you know, just specific to us, it's been an amazing tool to utilize. And, you know, it all goes towards the people that have made the commitment, you know, outside of this building in particular, to helping us have a chance in the portal. You know, not only our athletic administration, but, you know, the people that have donated to our NIL efforts. And it's made a huge difference. I think all you have to do is look at some of the guys that have come in here in the first 4 weeks and produced, from Skylar, you know, to TJ, to Nick, to Mel, to Darrell, you know, to Jaden McDonald, to, you know, Jordan Wright, to I mean, I could keep naming guys, you know, some guys up front that you don't necessarily see a lot. It's been a huge help for us. And you know, there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of, you know, how this thing's going to play out with the NCAA and some of the lawsuits. Hopefully we'll get some clarity soon. But it's a chance to bring in veteran players that have played a lot of games, have a physical maturity to them as well as a, you know, an emotional maturity, and get better quickly. So, but once again, none of that would happen without, you know, guys like Mike Burton and Dennis Naden and I mean, I you know, John Malfonte. I always say his name wrong, but I'm going to get it right here. And you know, and many others. So, you know, appreciate all of them.
Do you feel some of those guys feel they have something to prove, so they're hungry when they come here, they're desperate?
I think that every competitor always feels like they have something to prove. But I think, yeah, when you leave somewhere for a particular reason, you hope that it's not just to chase money. You know, you hope it's to, you know, because you want to maybe prove something or have a little bit better opportunity, be part of something special. So I think the further along you get in your career, you know, the more apt you are to invest more of yourself into your career, just because it's coming to an end potentially, or you see a future beyond college. But what I've been impressed with is the guys that have joined this program are high character individuals. And that's, as I've said many times, the risk in the portal is you don't know these guys as well. And you're taking a chance on disturbing what you're trying to build in your culture, your environment, or the way you do things. And our guys that we brought in have all they've enhanced it rather than detracted from it.
Buffalo came into this season not highly regarded at all, and then they go out and beat a team that beats Notre Dame. What is it about them, you know, 3-1, what makes them good?
They're extremely disciplined. They play square. They play like, you know, they're up on their toes, leaning into it. You know, they're not on their heels. They're not getting turned. They manage the line of scrimmage well. They tackle very well. You know, they hit you with their chest. They catch the ball when they're supposed to. They don't turn it over. They get takeaways. They're just they're very sound. They know who they want to be. They know what they want to do, and they do it well. you know, and when you watch a team like that, it's hard to find weaknesses in them. You know, you see a bunch of guys that completely understand how they want to play football, and they commit to it.
As a West Coast guy, I know you're disappointed when the Pac-12 seemed like it was sort of going away, but to see that conference find a new life, is that good for you and
I don't pay any attention to what's going on out there. I mean, I see some headlines every once in a while, but I don't. No, I mean, I grew up a Pac-12 guy, obviously, but yeah, I got enough to take care of right here that I don't spend a lot of time on that. I mean, if I were to spend time thinking about conference realignment, wouldn't have time to think about anything else because it's just, you know, it's all over the news and who knows what's going on.
One of the things in the Buffalo notes was the last time Buffalo played on grass was in 2019 Muhammad.
Huh.
Use that to your advantage?
It doesn't matter. You just put the ball down and you play. I'm one of those guys that doesn't think the surface matters at all, you know. I'm not going to bring it up to our players. They don't care, you know. I mean, that's their deal. I doubt their coach is saying one word about it, you know. Field turf is just like grass now. So I think those are just throwaways to me.
Is there a player, like a linebacker, that the last kid from Buffalo reminds you of?
I have to go back through my memory bank. Reminds me of a guy I coached named Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich, who's now the defensive coordinator of the New York Jets. And I had Brick for 8 years, or 7 years, I think, in San Francisco. Then he was my defensive coordinator at UCLA. Now he's the defensive coordinator of the Jets. Same type of player, you know, just always getting to the ball, very smart, high energy, you know, doesn't miss tackles, has long arms, can get his hand on the ball, about the same size, you know, about 6'1", 230, just tough as hell, smart as hell, guy that you can trust as a play caller. You know, Jeff Ulbrich was a guy that, you know, I let him call defenses at times. You know, he had the option to change defenses if he saw something. Now, I'm not saying that this kid does the same things, but, I mean, you know, the first thing I did is look to see, you know, why hadn't I heard of him before? You know, he's a grad, you know, but I pay more attention to our team than other teams, but I mean, he's a heck of a football player. Really, really fun to watch on film. Probably not as fun to watch in person when you're on the other sideline.
How important is it for you to have offensive balance, and how difficult is that to do when you're coming off a running game like you have and say, let's throw the ball anyway?
Well, balance is critical, but balance to me is not numbers. Balance means when you have to run the ball, you're able to run it. And when it comes time that you are in a game where you have to throw it, then you can throw it. That to me is balance. Balance isn't attempts and balance isn't yards. Balance is ability. So balance means if we're in a game that demands we run the football, then we better be able to run the football. You know, if it's the end of the game and we need to put the game away, running the football, we have to be able to do it. Conversely, if we are in a game that demands that we throw it, we can throw it effectively. So that's how I define balance. I don't define balance by run attempts, pass attempts, rush yards, or pass yards. It's probably a pretty good thing because when you have 66 rush attempts, right, and most of the world wouldn't see that as balance. But that's not how I look at balance.
Are you a balanced team?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got to prove it still in the pass game, but I see it. Yeah, I see it. I don't even know if that makes sense to you. To me, that's always how every football coach I've ever been around, that's how football coaches define balance, not by numbers necessarily. Numbers when it counts, you know, but not overall numbers.
Going through the first game, so many pieces, players, coaches, so no one to realize what the team is. I guess at what point did you have a good sense of what this team is supposed to be?
I still don't. You know, to me, it's every week proposition. You know, you hope that you're growing. You know, a lot of it is evidence in how we practice. You know, are you up and down as a practice team? Right now, there's a consistency to the way that we practice that indicates that we can make progress. But you've got to go out every week and you've got to you know, you've got to improve, and you've got to prove it every week if you want to continue to grow. So I still don't know who we are, you know, I don't yet. I think the more you play, the more apparent it becomes to you as to who you have a chance to become, but it's all about the work. So, you know, based on today's practice, you know, we made progress today, but the progress made today doesn't mean anything unless we make more progress tomorrow. And that's the attitude that we have to take as a program in everything that we do.
Do you believe you're balanced because you see the playmakers on offense?
Well, I believe we're balanced because we are. I mean, when we had to throw the ball the other night, we threw it effectively. We just didn't have to throw it a lot because we ran it, you know. When we played Merrimack and we decided to throw the ball, we threw it effectively. So when we played Duke, you know, we were okay. Not great, but great defense. So like I said, to me, I mean, however you want to define balance, that's your business. You can define it by numbers, whatever. I'm just telling you how football coaches define balance. Okay, thanks.